Hello, welcome to another episode. In this lab, we are going to look at configuring VLAN trunking. So in this lab, we are going to use Cisco Packet Tracer with 3 switches on our network. So note that as your network grows, you might come to the need to segregate network devices based on functions. For example, here we have 3 VLANs, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. So this segregation could be based on the different functions that people might be performing in an organization. For example, you have your departments, the marketing departments, you have a sales department, HR department, engineering, and so on and so forth. So here in our lab, we have 3 VLANs, VLAN 10, which is marketing. We also have VLAN 20, that is the HR VLAN, and VLAN 30, which is for sales. So here we are going to start with switch 1 and do the VLAN configurations and assign the respective ports to their various VLAN memberships. So we go to switch 1 and go to global configuration mode, and we create the VLAN 10, and we give it a name that is the marketing VLAN. Okay, and VLAN 30, and that is our sales VLAN. Okay, so the next thing is we assign the ports to their respective VLAN. So FA0/1 on switch 1 is connecting PC1 in VLAN 30, whereas FA0/2 connects PC2 on VLAN 10. So we do the assignments. Interface FA0/1, we turn the switch port to access port, switch port mode, access, switch port access VLAN 30. Okay, interface FA0/2, switch port mode, access, switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, so note that here you can see this port is blinking amber because by default all these ports are member of VLAN 1. So the moment you switch this port to a new VLAN, which is the VLAN 30, it starts now to associate that port with that VLAN. Okay, so if I hit that, you can also see port 2 is trying to negotiate and get to the new VLAN assignments. Alright, so the next thing is to configure G0/1 of the switch to be trunk link, but before we do that, we proceed to the other switches and do the same, create the VLANs and assign memberships. Okay, so moving to switch 2, we create the 2 VLANs there. First go to global configuration mode, and we say VLAN 10, name is marketing, VLAN 30, we give you a name of sales. Okay, so by default, as I said, all these ports are member of VLAN 1. As you can see here, before I do any port assignments, I can display the VLAN's port membership by using the command so VLAN, and you can see all of these ports are a member of these VLAN 1. So this is a default one at VLAN, and it is not best practice to be using this VLAN for data communications. Okay, and now you can see also the new VLANs are now created, but they have no port being assigned to them yet, VLAN 10 and 20. All right, so now if I do that port assignments, you can see they will also appear under that VLAN. Then you do the port assignments. Interface FA0/16, which is connecting PC6, switch port mode, access, switch port access VLAN 10. Interface FA0/10, switch port mode, access, switch port access VLAN 30. Okay, so we are also done there with VLAN creation and port assignments. Let's display the VLAN information again. Remember here you saw that all of these ports were a member of VLAN 1, but now the new port assignment should save to the new VLAN with the command show VLAN, because I'm not in previous example, so I have to use the do command there. Here you go, you can see F0/16 part of the marketing VLAN, and port 10 is now a member of VLAN 30. Alright, so now let's go to the last switch there, the switch 3, and then create the VLANs and do the respective port assignment as well. To go to global configuration modes, and we create the VLAN 20. We name it as C#, VLAN 30 is our sales VLAN. Port assignments, we FA0/14, that is the port connecting PC5 in VLAN 20. This switch port modes, access switch port access VLAN 20, interface FA0/13, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 30. Okay, so now that here you can see I have assigned the respective subnet to VLANs. So here I'm using 192.168.20.0/29 for VLAN 20, and I'm using 192.168.30.0/29 for VLAN 30, 192.10.0/29/10.0/29 for VLAN 10. All right, so the next things I'm going to do is actually assign IP addresses to these PCs. So I will start with PC1 and assign an IP address 192.168.30.1/29. The last update is 248. And now I'm going to pause this video and do the IP address assignment for the other computers, and then I will come back. Okay, the IP address assignment for all the computers on the network has been completed. So now let's come back and test connectivity. So here I am going to test communication from PC1 to PC3 or to PC4. Since they are in the same VLAN, they should be able to communicate in the switch network. But here I expect that the ping command is going to fail simply because this link is not yet configured as strong. So I'll go to the PC and launch the command prompt and ping the IP address of PC3 here, which is 192.168.30.3. Ping 192.168.30.3. So that ping is failing. If I also do the same to PC4, it's going to be the same results. Here you can see request time simply because strong is not enabled. So now let's go and do the trunk configurations. So on switch 1, I'm going to make sure that we turn hard code this port G0/1 as a trunk link. Okay, so before we do that, let's see this current mode. So interface is 0/1 of switch 1, that is trunk link switch port. So this is going to give us the default port states, and here you can see it's saying that switch port is enabled, and then now the administrative mode, that means this port is currently operating as dynamic auto. Okay, and dynamic auto means it is auto negotiable. So on this other side, if I come to switch 2, so that G0/1 also should be operating in the same way. That is the default mode for Cisco switches. So interface G0/1, and we say switch port. So this is also operating as dynamic auto. So based on Cisco rules, dynamic auto and dynamic auto on a trunk link, if this side is auto and the other side here is auto, so they will not form a trunk link. For example, if this was auto and this one was set to dynamic desirable, and then a trunk link is going to be formed. Or if one side is auto and then the other side is hard-coded as strong, a trunk link also is going to be formed. But since both of them are operating on their default port mode, which is auto, so no trunk link is going to form here. Okay, so let's hard code G0/1 of switch 1 to be a trunk link using the switch port mode trunk command. So global question mode interface G0/1 switch port mode trunk. Okay, so once this is formed, you can see that the port has changed state to off and is actually trying to negotiate. So it first of all took the ports down and brings it back up. So it's trying to negotiate and form a trunk link, because this side of the trunk link is now hard-coded as strong, and the other end is operating as other negotiable, so they will form trunks. They're going to negotiate and form trunk. We can verify that by using this score command again. So interface G0/1. So interface G0/1 switch port. So this is going to show us now that this port is now operating as a trunk. Administrative mode is trunk, so no more auto negotiable. And now a trunk link is going to be formed. So we can verify that with the command. So interface trunk. And now here you go. You can see it's saying on our switch G0/1, the port mode is trunk, encapsulation 802.1q, trunking is enabled, native VLAN is 1, that is the default VLAN, and right now the port is also allowing all the VLANs to pass from VLAN 1 to 1005. So this also is another problem, simply because this is security implications. All right, you can also see it here. It's saying trunking VLANs enabled for all VLANs. So I'm going to go to switch number 2. Interface G0/1 switch port mode trunk. Okay, so we also do that for G0/2 and G0/2 on switch 3. 50 interface G0/2 switch port mode trunk. Interface G0/2 and switch 3 switch port mode trunk. Okay, so now that a trunk link is formed between switch 1 and switch 2, so if we recall our ping command from PC1 to PC3, it should work. Ping 192.168.30.3 should now work. So here we go. You can see the reply packets are coming through. So also I should be able to ping the other PC in the same VLAN in switch number 3. So I can ping PC4 from PC1 using the ping command. There we go. That one is also replying. So now PC2 should also be able to ping PC6 since they are in the same VLANs. Ping 192.168.10.6. So that's also replying. But PC2 shouldn't be able to ping PC5 because they are in a different VLAN. And let's test that. 20.5, that should fail. Okay. So if you want that to work, you can check our videos on inter-VLAN routing, how you can make those two computers to communicate. So final thing here we're going to look at is some little bit of security. So as we already see that in this currently, this port is allowing, this strong port is allowing all VLANs to pass, and that is not security best practices. So we want to make sure that only the relevant VLANs are allowed to pass this strong link. So currently we will make use of VLAN 1, VLAN 10, and VLAN 30. So remember that VLAN 1 is our native VLAN, and that one also we need to allow it. So in a live environment, you also want to change the native VLAN to another VLAN number. So we don't need to allow VLAN 20 to any of these strong links simply because there is nobody connected to that VLAN. So that VLAN is currently only residing in switch number 3, so we don't need to allow any strong link. So likewise, we don't also need to create that VLAN in the other switches since there is no membership in those switches for the VLAN. So let's go to the trunk port. Config T interface G0/1 switch port trunk allowed VLAN 1, VLAN 10, and VLAN 30. Okay, so these are the 3 VLANs that we need to allow to pass through the strong link 10, 30, and 1. So we enter that. So now if you go back to your show command, so interface G0/1 switch port, here you can see that the trunking VLANs enabled is VLAN 1, 10, and 30. So now it is no more from VLAN 1 to 1005. Okay, so if you display the running configuration, also you can see under that G0/2 the VLAN that are allowed pass is VLAN 1, 10, and 30. Okay, so we can also do this to the other trunk ports in the other switches. interface 0/1 switch port trunk allowed VLAN 110 and VLAN 30. Interface G0/2, that's the other trunk link going to switch number 3. We use the same command 0/2 or switch 3, switch port trunk VLAN will be 1, VLAN 1 and VLAN 30. So that is it for configuring VLAN trunking on a Cisco switches. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe.